What is good, everybody? It's your boy Piston Mike. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. 70% of you guys are not subscribed. I don't know why. It don't cost you anything, not even a nickel or dime. Today, as always, we got our special guest, the legendary Piston rider himself. He's going to give you, out of the four teams, which most likely would Jerami Grant end up on. Out of the Blazers, the Wizards, the Lakers, and the Knicks, he's going to tell you which team has the best offer and where would Jerami Grant end up. We're going to have a great discussion. It's going to be a great one again. Here's your boy, Piston Mike, man. Let's get into it. I'm about to invite him on. So, hope everybody's day is going well, going good. But yeah, we're definitely going to and see if he's accepted. But I hope everybody's having a blessed day, having a well day like me. I'm just got off of work. But yeah, man, the Pistons just got Bobo. You probably won't see him play until Friday. I'm forgetting who we play Friday. I think it might be the Toronto Raptors. But yeah. We definitely gonna see what is up with it. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell button. Let me know what videos y'all want to see from me next. But yeah. Unable to join. Hold on. Give me a sec. Is it gonna work now? Or is it being weird? Okay. Good. Again, introduce yourself, plug yourself, and yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Steve Pelletier. I'm a contributor over at DetroitBadBoys.com, the best place for Piston content on the web. So I check my stuff out there. The last thing I did was the 30-game progress report, working on some draft preview stuff right now, which hopefully will be up in the next couple days. So just to preview it here, I'm going to do one kind of on vertical threat guys, like lob threats, somebody who can be more of a dunker, and then one on shooters, and then another one on guys that just get buckets. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm going to try and turn those out in the next couple weeks, but that's what's upcoming. So again, DetroitBadBoys.com. I'm Steve Pelletier. Always happy to join up with Micah here. So
yeah. We might have to talk about that. You definitely got me intrigued. I love talking about draft prospects, especially with guys like you who are knowledgeable about draft prospects. But it's always a pleasure to have thoughts and opinions. But again, make sure you go to a website. Make sure you go read them articles. I will have this last article in the link in the description of my video today. So let's get into it. So out of the 4 teams that were mentioned yesterday, who you think has the best trade offer, Jerami Grant, and where do you think he's going to go?
So to reiterate, it's the Lakers, the Blazers, the Knicks, and the Wizards, right? Those are the 4. I mean, you and I kind of talked about it a little bit. I think we both think it's the Wizards, right? Just because I think they have at least they have all their picks, if I'm not mistaken. So that's like at least something, and I think that's a lot of Pistons fans wants. Is like we at least want another first-round pick. Just scouring over the comment section at Detroit Bad Boys and doing our Slack chats and stuff there. That seems to be what most of us want, and they would like a lottery pick. So I think the Wizards probably have the best chance of that, right? At the teams listed, maybe the Knicks. I guess it just depends on how it goes down. But let me look at Washington's roster here before I see anything else. Yeah, the only bad. Okay, I take it back. I think The only reason I don't like the Wizards is like what we talked about last time, that Davis Bertans deal. Like they have to take that, right? And
Mm.
he's owed 16 this season, 16 million next season, 17, and then 16. Like that's a long time, right? And he
Mm.
hasn't. I mean, he hasn't been great, and it just sucks because if it were 2 years, even if it were 3 years, I think it wouldn't be too bad. But everything that's happening with Zion in New Orleans, I feel like Troy Weaver has to start now of like, okay, Kate's here. Everything, number one, has to revolve around him, and we have to like consistently show him that we not only want to win, but like surround him with players that complement. And while I do think Davis Bertans does one of those things, like he is complimentary because he's supposed to be just a dude that fires away from three from the 4 and the 5. He hasn't really been that productive. Let's check his numbers right now because last time we checked, I think he was like at 32%. So he's starting to get it up at least 34.1% from threes, which is he was shooting something like 20 something percent when the year started. He was terrible, but his overall field goal percentage right now is 36.5. Obviously, yeah, exactly. That's yeah, that's exactly my thought. And 6.6 points. 2 rebounds a game, man. I think like you or I could jump in the NBA game right now and get more rebounds than this dude. And he's 6'10". It's not like he's some small, the 6'10", 225, pulling in 2 rebounds a game. This is the main reason why with the Wizards, I'm like, this
Mm.
it would hurt. It would hurt pretty bad. But if they did get somebody like Rui Hachimura, Corey Kispert, maybe he's in there. Even if they could swing for Kyle Kuzma, which I don't think they would do because I think he's too valuable for them. Like, I think that would at least work because, again, it's like somebody who can complement Cade and help out. Rui's a weird one, though, just because he hasn't really played this season and nobody really knows why he was out.
Mm.
So that would have to be number one, I think, on the agenda would be like, okay, we want to trade for Rui, but we got to figure out, like, number one, why was he out? Because nobody said COVID. It was just personal reasons. So
Mm.
yeah, that would just be the thing. But if they could get one of those guys like Kuzma, Rui, Corey Kispert, and another pick, like I think it's not my favorite deal. It's not my ideal one, but I think that would be fine. They, I was listening to Sam Vecini's Game Theory podcast, and they were talking about the Aaron Gordon trade last year being something that should be kind of like a benchmark for um, Grant. I think Grant's a better player than Gordon for sure, but I do think it makes sense, right? Because they traded him from Orlando to Denver because Denver was kind of looking at him as his final piece to get them over the hump. And they ended up getting RJ Hampton and a pick out of it,
Mm.
I believe. So I think something better than that, and obviously like Rui or Kuzma would be a better one than RJ Hampton. Even though I like Hampton, like he's unproven still, you know.
Mm.
I think that's like a realistic deal and pretty good out of the bunch.
You also mentioned that for the Knicks, you think they'd be willing to give up RJ Barrett because he's been having like up and down season or like a down season. You think they willing to give him up?
I mean, I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility.
Mm.
Let's look at the Knicks. He is second on the team in points per game. His shooting splits are 44.9, 34.8. He's like in this in between spot, right, where he's good, but not quite great yet. He's not their primary playmaker. He's not their primary shooter. He still shoots below 70% from the free throw line, even though he gets there like an okay amount. So, and it's Tibbs, right?
Mm.
Like, if he doesn't think like this is somebody that's going to get him over the hump, I could see them moving on from him. And while I'm not like, I would personally take a gamble on him and a bet. It might be an odd fit with he and Cade because he's more of an on-ball player than an off-ball player. But again, it's a young talent. Somebody's still on the rookie deal. It's at least worth a shot. And again, he's having a down year. So if they believe that he's not going to improve, then yeah, I could see them moving on from him, right? Or if they're like, you know, we thought we were getting the third best player out of that Zion draft, and we're getting maybe like the 10th best player out of that Zion draft, then yeah, obviously they would move him for Jerami Grant. He's already an upgrade right now this season. He would be replacing that production. He would give them more shooting. He would give them an actual wing defender with more size to guard those, the KDs and the Giannis's that they're going to see in the playoffs. So that at least is in the realm of possibility. Like, again, I don't know anything. It's just if they think that RJ's not going to be this, like, I don't know, even like top 50 player, then yeah, I could see them moving on from him. But they also have Obi Toppin. They also have Mitchell Robinson, like you were saying. So they have some interesting dudes. And I think they still have all their first-round picks. There's somebody I haven't looked into in terms of first-round picks. So let me give you that well.
I think on Tankathon, I want to say they got the 11th and the 40th pick, and I think the Wizards got like the 14th pick, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually on Tankathon right now. So yeah, Knicks have the 12th and I guess just the 12th right now. Currently they're sitting at pick 12, 42, and that's it. And the Wizards currently sit at the 14th pick.
So if you're getting them trades, you're getting another lottery pick. So, I mean, you can choose whoever you want to. You'll have 2 lottery picks. So that'll be nice. I don't know who you would get. My kind of thing is, with us trading for Bobo, do you think we still draft a big man, or do you think we draft a guard? Because it's kind of interesting.
I still think they draft a wing, to be honest, because I think that's where they're lacking. Is they have they have Cade. Even if they believe Killian is a long-term, like, developmental answer, then again, those are the 2 guards, Cade and Killian. And then Sadiq, since Grant's been out, it seems like him at the 4 is what works out best, right? But again, I'm not certain on that. Obviously, I don't have any inside info or anything. It just seems that once Jerami Grant went out and Sadiq slid over to the 4 a little more, that it's like, oh, this is working out a lot better. And again, somewhere in that wing position. And I mean, Killian, they got to do something. They can't just sit tight with Killian and Cade there, right? They have to find somebody at least that could supplement Cade, whether it's at the 3 or at the 2. I think it's gonna be one of those there. So in a way, yeah, I don't think they're gonna draft a big man, but we also know Troy Weaver likes big dudes, So that's his preference. But I think the Bobo thing is at least an indicator of, like, hey, let's give a swing on this guy. See if he's got anything going. See if maybe he's a 4 or 5, if he can work as a 5 in the system. But yeah, if I had to bet, I would say they are more likely to draft a wing, just because, again, I think that slot of like 2 to 3, even though the other developmental guys they have are Frank Jackson, he doesn't have size really to supplement Cade, and he can't really play the 1. And even if they keep Killian, like Frank, Killian, Cade is kind of an odd lineup. I don't know that they want to push Cade to the 3 or Killian to the 3, because that would end up what it'd have to be in that lineup. And then Hamidou. I think Hamidou has just proven himself that, like, he's best with the ball in his hands. He should run the second unit, be that 6th man that you're like, hey, just go out there and dunk on the second unit guys and make some plays. And again, he's an odd fit next to Cade, even though I think he is a long-term piece. I don't know that you want to play like he and Cade together a lot if Hamidou's not going to shoot that much. And if you have other dudes in the lineup that can't shoot that much.
So let's just say hypothetically we fall to the 5th pick. Who you think we would get? Like, do you think we would get an Ivy or no?
That one's hard. He's shooting well this season, but I think everybody is in agreement. Like, he's getting John Moran and Russell Westbrook comps, right? And those are not dudes that you take the ball out of their hand, right? So I think that's the difficulty in, like, somebody that would want a Jaden Ivy. He needs the ball in his hands to be his most effective, and he's done a lot of damage in transition, which obviously this Piston team does not want to run in transition, right? That's just not what the coaching staff is preaching, and where they're, like, shifting all their development to. It's more of, hey, get the ball Let's get in our half-court offense and run it that way. So I do not think he and Cade are the best fit together since they both really need the ball in their hands. So yeah, I don't think he would be there. I also don't know if he'll last till 5 because he's one of 2 guys that has really played himself into top 3 consideration. The other one being Jonathan Davis from Wisconsin, the guard. He's somebody I think that would work perfectly with Cade. He's getting a lot of comparisons to Devin Booker because he's got that like in between range. He can shoot the 3. He's 6'5", shifty guard, and he's got a really good handle. His passing ability isn't really top level, but it's not like it's bad. It's just he's mainly been being asked to score like every single point, it seems, for Wisconsin. A lot of people are already saying like he's a lock for National Player of the Year. I can pull up his stats here real quick.
Oh, I know who he is. I don't know his stats, but I know who he is. He get buckets. I know he's a bucket getter.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, he would be somebody. I have a hard time because I'm not opposed to Jaden Ivy. It's just like I did the preseason preview of him. You can go look it up on DetroitBadBoys.com. And that was before he started shooting well. Like last year, he did not shoot it from distance very well. And that was one of my main concerns with him. But even watching him more and more, like I said, it's just one of those guys that like you want to give him the ball and get out of his way. And that really is what Purdue has done. He also has thrived because they have 2 really good big men in Zach Edey and Travion Williams. So he always has like a top-notch center in the game whenever he's out there. And I do wonder how much that affects like him being able to be well. Whereas Jonathan Davis has Brad Davison, Tyler Wall, Stephen Krull, Chucky Hepburn. Like we don't know who these dudes are, right? And he's the only guy on the team right now scoring above 15 points. It's really him and Brad Davison. So right now, Jonathan Davis is scoring 22.3 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, 2.6 assists. His shooting splits are 49.4, 33.3, and then 80.5 from free throw line. He's getting the free throw line 5.9 times per game.
Yeah. Another dude I will keep an eye on. A lot of draft experts have been down on him. But I think he just had a 30-point game and a buzzer beater, and he's the hometown kid that Jaden Hardy, believe.
Yeah, Jaden Hardy.
Oh man, I think he'd be awesome. I think he can do a little bit of everything. He can pass. We know he can shoot it. He doesn't need the ball in his hands either. He'll come off the screens, light it up. So I think he'll be an excellent fit. Bigger guard, 6'5". Like 6'4", 6'5", 195, somewhere around it. I like him. I want to see what he's gonna do for the rest of the season, but I wouldn't be shocked if we were end up with him.
Yeah, I agree. I like him a lot too. The shooting numbers are objectively bad. He's scoring 17.7-ish points per game right now, 3.1 assists. He is turning the ball over 3.5 times a game. And his shooting splits, he's 35% overall from the field, so not good. And then 26.9 from 3. But he's shooting 88.2% from the free throw line. And I think that free throw shooting this is one of those cases where, number one, if I had to like summarize my approach to analyzing draft guys, it would be context. Because you got to take like, okay, how good are their teammates? Like, what are they actually being asked to do? Whereas Jaden Hardy, he's just in a really tough spot, Let me try and pull up this G League Ignite team is not that good. Last year they had Brian. I mean, we've talked about this before, right? Brian Shaw was their coach. He was the head coach of the Denver Nuggets for a couple seasons, so he has that actual NBA game experience. He was an NBA player for like 10 plus years. He played under Phil Jackson. He started his coaching career under Phil Jackson. So this is a dude, right? He's a dude. And on that team, they also had Bobby Brown and Jared Jack. So they had these real legit vets, guys that actually played in the league, to help out the young team. So they had this really strong, like, core of, I don't want to say leaders, but like people that had been in the league, that have been around, that can give them real guidance. And like, I don't want to, I hate to say it because it's like, I don't want to talk down to their current staff, but their current coach, like, was an assistant. This is like his real first head coaching job, and the roster is not that good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the veterans, I'm looking at it right now. Their veterans are Dakari Allen, Jesse Govan, Amari Hardy, Pooh Jeter, Amir Johnson, and Costa Kufos and Kevin Murphy. That's a significant downgrade from a Jared Jack and Bobby Brown, right? So it's and then even then, like Bobby Brown and Jared Jack took over the offense at times last year to help them win games. Like Jaden Hardy ain't getting no help. Same with Dyson Daniels, same with Michael Foster. These guys are getting no help. They're like, hey, here's a rookie head coach who's never been a head coach at any level before. Hey, we don't have any veterans that can like take the reins when you need it. So this is why I think you look at his shooting splits and they're terrible. It's because like they don't have any other choice. He's their number one, maybe even their number two scorer a lot of times. So I'm with you. I'd bet on him too. I think there would be a good opportunity to trade down because it seems like his stock has taken quite a bit of hit. And he'd be somebody I'd be willing to bet on for the reasons that you said, right? You know, he can pass the ball. He can do a little bit of everything. So if they fell to like fifth and there was nobody they liked, it'd be cool if they could trade down for multiple picks and get somebody like a Jaden Hardy who does have great potential, but is obviously going to need a little bit more development time and hasn't been in the best context. Again, context hasn't been in the best team context for him to succeed.
Yeah. Another dude is that dude from Arizona, the wing.
I don't have my hat with me. Benedict Mathurin, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That's another dude I would keep my eye on just because I think he's definitely in the lottery, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I know he could shoot it. He's long, lanky, athletic. You know, he's the Troy Weaver type. If we want to go Troy Weaver type, he is it all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I was at the game, was it Monday, when they played Washington. So if you don't know, I'm here based in Tucson. I teach over at the University of Arizona here. So I went to the game on Monday and got to see him and Christian Coloco, another dude I really like. Actually, there's like pretty much there's like 4 or 5 guys on the team, I think, that are NBA dudes. But anyway, Mathurin, though, he kind of started the year slow, not shooting the ball well, but then he's just picked it up the more the season has gone along. So right now he's at 18.9 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and his shooting splits are 62.1, 38.6, and 79.2 points per game. And just when I saw him live, like that Washington game, they led most of the game, but when Washington started to come back, like he was always the guy that just took the ball, found the open spot, and was able to, you know, drain another three or get to the line or put in a floater that, you know, all of a sudden put the game more and more out of reach for Washington. And I think that just speaks to who he is and how his game has progressed this year too, is that he's just taken the reins more and more as the season's gone on of like, okay, we need a bucket now. I'm going to take over.
Yeah, I like him a lot. And I do like Christian Coloco. I think he's definitely big if I'm Troy Weaver. If I get another first-round pick out of Jerami Grant trade, you know, if it's in, like, if I could trade down and get more picks, like you said, if somebody I don't like, if we're in the 20s and Christian Coloco's on the board, I might take him. Because I don't know necessarily a believer in Jalen Duren. I'm just not. I don't know. It's too many question marks in this game. I mean, he's athletic and big, but that's it.
And yeah, like Coloco and Duren do pretty much the same thing. Duren does showed a little bit more of like short roll passing and shooting, but if that never comes around, then again, he and Coloco do the same things. I actually think Coloco's a little bit more mobile. Looking on the film, he seemed good, but then seeing him live, like he never got outrun by any of Washington's guards. He switched real easily, and I don't know if he's still averaging like 3 or 4 blocks a game. Let me take a look. But I mean, he understands how tall he is. That's just like the easiest thing, which is funny because a lot of guys that are that tall, they don't always understand that, which is mind-boggling. But he really understands verticality and understands like I just need to put my hands up here around the rim, and it's going to be incredibly hard for guys to shoot over me. So he's averaging 3.4 blocks per game right now, which is really good. And these aren't like him chasing them down. It's him again switching out on smaller dudes, just putting his hands up, maybe getting a chase down here or there. But he's definitely a good switch defender. Kind of reminds me a little of Mitchell Robinson, somewhat.
Yeah, I like him. I like his potential. I definitely think he's a big man. I think he's a big man who's going to have a role for a long time in this league. Like you can look at it and see that
Yeah,
there's it's like him and maybe one other big man prospect I like, but other than that, it's like maybe one or two actually. Then other than that, it's just like a drop off. And you
yeah,
never know what Troy Weaver gonna do. But if I was him, I would probably take a wing and another big in this draft. Just because you never know if DeAndre Ayton is necessarily going to lead a Phoenix, even though I would throw the max.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, throw the max at him. But just in case you can't get him, go ahead and draft another big. I would draft another wing. That's just my opinion. Then more than likely we're going to get another first round pick for the Jerami Grant trade. I don't see how not. I think it's going to be this year. I almost
Yeah, yeah, I agree on that. If they don't, it's like almost guaranteed again. If they trade him, that they're going to get another first round pick. Agree. And after I heard that about the Aaron Gordon trade, that's kind of like the starting point for a Grant trade. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. A young prospect and another first round pick. That seems reasonable and like what the team would want to do, for sure. But you're talking about trading down earlier. Yeah, if like they say they get the fifth pick and they don't like anybody there and they trade down to get Jaden Hardy and Christian Colo, I think that would be good. Because again, it fits in those roles that they need. Another microwave scorer, somebody that can play with Cade, doesn't necessarily need the ball in his hands, can light it up, can find easy points running off screens and stuff. Or he can be the guy running the second unit. And even thinking again of somebody in the second unit like Hamidou Diallo, he does everything that Diallo doesn't, which is create offense and space the floor. So yeah, that would be really good, and also knock down free throws at a high rate. And Coloco again, like he offers the things that Beef Stew does not, which is has size, regular. Not that Stewart doesn't block shots, but just a different kind of like sit back block shots. Also a really good switch defender, and even more important, he's actually a vertical lob threat. Something they desperately need. So.
Yeah, for sure.
And I
But
mean, even then, his floor is something like a JaVale McGee. And JaVale McGee's played for like, what, 15 years now? A long time, and he's always been effective. And he just seems to get better or, maintain his efficiency and everything as he's got older.
yeah, for sure. I want to get your thoughts on the Bobo trade. I know we talked about it earlier, but what position do you think Bobo plays? Because he's only 220. I know you can run at the 5, but against most centers, I don't think that's going to cut it. Is he a 4? What is his long-term position on this team, you think?
I mean, I think it has to be at the 5 just because he is limited as in his mobility at the 4. I think that's more detrimental than his limited strength at the 5. Like thinking about it realistically, how many guys are really going to like take advantage of that skinniness, lack of strength, however you want to put it? It's like Joel Embiid, maybe Brook Lopez, but I don't feel like he does that as much anymore. And even then, he's getting older, so he even knows that that's a thing. Giannis when he plays center. I mean, we're talking about like the best of the best, right? Yeah, who's Indiana's even second unit like center right now? I'm trying to think somebody in the division who like their second unit center.
I don't even know. I don't know any that's like going crazy.
Yeah, see that's kind of my point. Like nobody really runs post ups or runs things that would really, I think, like exploit his lack of strength outside of guys like Giannis and Embiid. Maybe somebody like a Daniel Gafford. I don't know. I haven't watched many Washington games, so maybe I should speak out of turn. But he seems like somebody that like if your answer was like, yeah, Daniel Gafford, they run these like 4 or 5 plays that Daniel Gafford does that would exploit Bobo's like a strength, and I'd be like, oh yeah, then sound the alarms. But for like a second unit guy that could play along somebody like Trey Lyles, I think he's perfect, right? What we call a 3-and-D center. All you got to do, buddy, set these screens, shoot these threes, play drop covers, stay at the rim, just stand there and be tall and block some shots, right?
Yeah.
Don't.
My thing is, I'm wondering why Denver, you know what I'm saying, traded him for Roddy McGruder in a second-round draft pick that's really like, what, it's like the 59th draft pick, so almost the last pick, second last pick. My thing is, we got him for an absolute steal. Thank you, Denver, for not believing in him. Thank you for not playing on the playoffs, because I'm telling you what, even at the bare minimum, he is a role player off the bench that's going to give you something. At the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Bare.
Yeah, and especially with, I don't even know who's been rolling at the 4 in the backup units. So Trey Lyles had to go to the 5. And I know there was that one game where I was just like, oh my gosh, please don't play this lineup again. It was like Corey Joseph, Frank Jackson, somebody else, and then Kate at the 4 and Lyles at the 5. And it was like, this hurts to watch so bad. And then now at least Lyles can have somebody out there that I don't know. I kind of hesitate to say this, but I feel that Bobo isn't as athletically limited as Luka Garza. Almost said Frank Garza. That's his dad. Follow his dad on Twitter, Frank Garza, if you don't already. He's super nice guy, really supportive of his son and of Detroit basketball in general. But it seems like Luka always has his shoes tied together, right? Like, he just seems heavy, and even though he's always given his all, like his lack of athleticism shows so much on the defensive side, whereas Bobo, I feel, is not like that, and with him having like 2 to 3 inches of height on him as well. Again, they can run zone with Bobo. They can run that drop coverage, and he can make a difference there, I think, as long as they keep him close to the basket, he'll be all right.
Yeah, that's my thing is that dude wingspan is massive. You talking about something who got a wingspan? 7'8" wingspan, and he's 7'2". Yeah. Oh my God! You talking?
Yeah, I don't even know if you have to jump to dunk it, right?
You talking about rim protection? We got it. Like, this dude gonna be swatting everything. You put him in the paint, swatting, and that's my thing is. I think I made a video a month before it actually happened. I said, Troy Weaver, you need to go get Bobo.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about, oh, I'm mad. They don't believe in me. The same thing with Miles Turner. They don't believe in me. They think I'm just whatever. I believe I'm a star. If a player believes he's a star, hey, man, go get him. Go get him. Let's see what we can do with him. Because, be real, he do got star potential. He can be a star. Like,
yeah, I mean, he was projected to be top 5 before he got hurt, and he was balling out in those first couple of games before he got hurt at Oregon too. So who knows? He might have even been a top 10 if things had played out. I can't remember who else was specifically in that draft class, but I mean, he was shooting like something like 39-40% from 3. This is like really, really unheard of for somebody that size to be shooting like that.
Yeah, man. I definitely love the Bobo trade. I think it gives us a lot of different things, man. I think it's a lot that he brings to the table in the bare minimum. He's a role player who's gonna give a lot more to offer than you have now. So that's the bare minimum, which is good to me. To take chances on these guys that teams don't believe in. I wouldn't be shocked if Troy Weaver make more moves. That's why I wanted to talk to you about too.
Well, just real quick on Bobo. So, give you the numbers. In college, he did play 9 games, so it was. I mean, it's obviously a small sample size, but it's not as small as I remember. I thought he only did like 5 But he shot 52% from three in those 9 games. So again, if he had, even if it like fell off a couple points, even if he was shooting like 38%, like he's 7'2", right? Like
Mm.
those type of dudes are not supposed to be shooting that. And so far in the NBA, he shot 37.8%. He's only taken 37 threes in an actual NBA game, but he still continues to show like that shooting is at least legitimate. And again, playing along somebody like Trey Lyles who struggled to shoot, that's something Pistons need.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. Another thing I wanted to get into though, who you think else is going to be traded? Because I just don't think it's going to be the Jerami Grant trade. I'm thinking Troy Weaver going to trade multiple dudes. I'm thinking it's going to be similar to the Bobo situation where it's dudes that are on teams that necessarily don't care about them no more and they
Mhm.
wait for anything. But that's just in my opinion. Who else do you think besides Jerami Grant will be moved on this Piston roster?
I don't know if they will be, but the only ones that I think would have a possibility are Josh Jackson and Corey Joseph. And only because I think Corey Joseph actually fills a need for like somebody like Philadelphia who needs a second unit point guard to just run things and stay out of the way and understand your role and has actual NBA experience for a while, you know. Um, but again, I'm not sure what that return would be. And he's making, are you kidding me? I'm looking at the snap. He's making 7.3 million right now. So maybe Corey Joseph is not going to be moved because that's a lot bigger than I remembered. I thought he was making like 5. But he's somebody that at least like can fill in a spot. And he went 4 for 4 last night in that Utah win. So when he's been less involved with the ball in his hands, he at least seems to play better. So thank God he's maybe accepting that role more now. And the other guy is Josh Jackson only because he's an expiring contract. So I could see a place where somebody just wants to get off some money. They're feeling pressed. Like Portland is a good one if they feel like they just need to get off money or they feel like they want to reset because they're so bad. Then, yeah, I could see Josh Jackson being moved for something, but he might also be what we call a DBB, a poison pill thing where we have to swallow a bad contract in order to get what the Pistons need to swallow a bad contract in order to get what they want. And Josh Jackson helps that other team, you know, free up some money in the meantime. So yeah, like a Kyle, one is like maybe even this one's hard because he's playing well and I think they need him. Was just lost Kyle Anderson, excuse me, for Josh Jackson. They make Josh Jackson's like 5 mil, and I think Kyle Anderson's like 9. Let me look at this real quick. So they might need something else in between to make the money work. But like something like that to where at least Kyle Anderson, yeah, 9 million. So why this would maybe make sense for Memphis is that 9 million. It like I forget what it is. It's like doubles or triples on their books when he hits free agency, unless they just straight up say we're going to renounce you. We don't want to use our bird rights on you, so we don't want to sign you to a contract that we can, you know, pay you higher than everybody else. So that he would just immediately come off the books because they want that. Whereas somebody like Josh Jackson, he's immediately expendable, right? The minute they hit free agency, they can just be like, boom, you're out of here, and we can get that money. So I don't know if that's like feasible. I just use that as an example, something like that, to where Memphis is obviously a title contender. And if they felt like we need to go get, say, a Miles Bridges in the offseason, then that would be something that they could do and should do if they did think they could do that to free up money. So I think it's something like that, to where they want to get free of a contract, and that's the only way that they can really do it. So I'm looking at their books to see if there's anybody they want to get out. But everybody on Memphis, like, pretty much works.
Could you see, and this is a hypothetical, could you see Josh Jackson getting moved for, you know, this is a team that's a dumpster fire. This is a team that might get rid of De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton. Do you think Josh Jackson can be moved for Marvin Bagley straight up?
Maybe I'm not sure, but I think with the Bull trade now, that's a bad move because now we're just like have this glut of big men, and I think Bull fits better with what's going on. And it's easier to cut ties with a Bull at the end of the season if he sucks and he's still saying like they didn't play me right because it's like he's a second round pick, whatever. Whereas Bagley is, still those high draft picks. They still have some kind of clout around the league. He's making 11 million. That's more than double of what Josh Jackson's making right now. So that I don't know how I haven't tried to run that through the trade simulator at all in a while. So I don't know if that would work either money wise. But I think because of the Bobo trade, it's a bad move right now. And it would make little sense to me for them to trade for somebody who everybody says has had great potential to come to a team where it seems like you can just let him run and do things and figure out if it works. And then to get Marvin Bagley and kind of be in that same boat. And you still have Isaiah Stewart here, and Trey Lyles is still in the rotation. Like there's too many mouths to feed at that point, I think. So I think that one's not going to work. The one I do think would work is something centered around Josh Jackson for Buddy Hield. And again, just a shooter, right? I don't know how the money would work it out there, but I think Buddy Hield has got to be number one on the dumpster fire that is continually the Sacramento Kings of somebody that would be easiest to move. He's owed 22 million this season, 20 next, and then 18. So at least it's like progressively going down. And if there's anything that he can do, it's shoot the ball. He'll always be able to shoot the ball. He's one of the best shooters in NBA history, not just, right now. Like he's made as many threes and more threes than a lot of guys in NBA history. I forget the stat they put up when the Pistons played the Kings, but like go look it up. He's a legit, like one of the best shooters that's ever played. So if anything else, he would come in and do that. And I also think he is needed. He's like one of those Eric Gordon guys that he's always been solid. His numbers, like you look at them and you're like, whatever. And then you turn on the game and he's dropping like 20. And you're like, oh, this guy just knows how to score, which is something obviously the Pistons need, right? And I don't think he would really get in the way of Cade and Sadiq. If anything, I think he would feed off of them a lot more because, again, what he does best is come off screens, pin down stuff. He can handle the ball a little bit, but I think he would be more than happy to play with somebody like Cade and Sadiq who are going to take the defense and just let him shoot.
Yeah, that would be an interesting move, definitely. But I don't know if I got anything else. Do you got anything else you want to mention? Or no, I think that's pretty much it.
Just one last thing on Buddy Hield. So the last 3 seasons, he's averaged 9.4 threes per game every single season. He shot 38% or better from 3. Instant spacing, that's my only. I understand the other things about Buddy Hield of like not really having a game inside the arc and whatever. To me, that's like who cares? At this point, we just need that 3-point shooting, right? The Pistons just need that 3-point shooting. And he's a little bit down. He's 15.4 points per game, but he's playing only 29.2, which is minutes per game, which is less than what he's done in the past. So that would be one I think if Troy Weaver could somehow squeeze that out of Sacramento, something around Josh Jackson for Buddy Hield, I think that would be fantastic. Because again, the 3-point shooting just fits, and that's all the team really needs him to do at this point.
You think we can get him, even though Kelly Olynyk's trade Kelly Olynyk, Corey Joseph, and like Josh Jackson like a 2nd-round pick? Would that work or no?
I think it would. I mean, at this point, I think they've really, well, I guess I should say it should work logically. And there have been a lot of Buddy Hield trade scenarios in the last, 3 years. And the Kings, for whatever reason, are just like saying they want to move him, but then they don't move him. I think that's just the biggest thing with any of those Kings trades is like they like their guys. They don't want to move them, but they still put out these rumors that they're going to move them. So who knows? I think it would be great. And again, it would free money off of their books to do other things, especially if they're trying to keep De'Aaron Fox around, who they just signed to an extension. So it's the one that makes the most sense if you were thinking about, hey, let's take Josh Jackson and, go swallow somebody else's bad contract.
Yeah. Do you think if we swallowed his contract, do you think they would give us picks for it or no? You think they would just let us swallow it?
I would think so. I would hope so. Because again, the idea behind like we're taking this contract you don't want, in most of those instances, the team that gets the bad contract gets picks alongside with it, right? So I think that they would, even if it's like 1 second rounder, 2 second rounders, I think it's worth it.
Mm.
Because again, the idea behind it is, hey, we're helping you out to get you out of this salary jam that you put yourself into. So you got to give us something in return.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's always been a pleasure. Look forward to talking to you again.
Mhm.
Definitely let me know when you drop that draft, the draft thing you got. We need to do a live stream on that ASAP.
Yeah.
I think it would be great to plug it well at that time. But have a blessed day. Thank you again. Always a great conversation. Always.
Yeah, always.
Have a good one, man. Peace.